Today we're going back to one of the most beloved family sitcoms in television history, Full House. For 8 magical seasons, from 1987 to 1995, the Tanner family invited themselves into our living rooms every Friday night, and we never wanted them to leave. But here's the thing that will stop you in your tracks. It has been 39 years since that first episode aired. Yes, 39 years. Some of the child stars you watched grow up on screen went on to build empires worth hundreds of millions of dollars. One became a fashion billionaire without ever acting again. One nearly lost everything to addiction before staging one of the most inspiring comebacks in Hollywood history. And one of the show's most beloved faces left us far too soon in a way that shocked the entire world. So, before we find out what happened to all of them, click that subscribe button and the notification bell, because what you're about to hear will make you look at your childhood very differently. Let's begin. Bob Saget was 30 years old when he became Danny Tanner, the warm, vacuum-obsessed, widowed dad holding together the most chaotic household on American television. What many people forget is that before Full House, Bob was known as one of the filthiest stand-up comedians in the business. He played the most wholesome dad in America for 8 years, flawlessly. After the show, he hosted America's Funniest Home Videos, narrated How I Met Your Mother as future Ted Mosby, and returned to his true love, stand-up comedy. He reprised Danny Tanner in Fuller House on Netflix with all the love he'd always brought to the role. And then we lost him. On January 9th, 2022, Bob Saget was found unresponsive in his hotel room in Orlando. He was 65 years old, had just launched a new stand-up tour, and was, by all accounts, happier than he'd ever been. The coroner determined he had suffered an accidental blunt force head injury. JOHN STAMOS, his closest friend for decades, was inconsolable. The entire cast and an entire generation mourned. Bob Saget was not just a TV dad. For millions of us, he was the definition of what a good father could look like. Rest in peace, Bob. Irreplaceable. JOHN Stamos was 24 when he became Jesse Katsopolis, the Elvis-loving, leather jacket-wearing uncle who was every teenager's crush and every kid's idol. His romance with Becky, played by Lori Loughlin, and his bond with baby Michelle gave the character a genuine emotional depth nobody expected. After Full House, when many expected him to fade from view, John did the opposite. He starred in ER, Glee, Scream Queens, and most recently Dr. Odyssey, continuing to prove the man simply does not age. He published a deeply personal memoir, opening up about his personal struggles, his friendship with Bob Saget, and becoming a father at 55 with wife Caitlin McHugh and their son William. Today, at 62, JOHN Stamos has an estimated net worth of $25 million and remains one of Hollywood's most enduring figures. Not bad for the coolest uncle in America. CANDACE Cameron Bure was just 11 years old when she first played DJ Tanner, the responsible eldest daughter navigating first loves and family chaos across all 192 episodes. After Full House ended, she made a deliberate choice. She stepped back from Hollywood to marry NHL player Valeri Bure and raise their 3 children. Many in the industry wrote her off. They were wrong. CANDACE came back as the queen of Hallmark Channel Christmas movies, co-hosted The View, wrote a New York Times best-selling book, competed on Dancing with the Stars, and built her own production company. Then, in 2022, she made a move that genuinely shocked Hollywood, leaving Hallmark to take an executive role at the faith-based Great American Family Network. It created real tension within the Full House family and cost her some relationships. But CANDACE has never apologized for standing by her values. That takes a certain kind of courage. Today, at 50, she has a combined net worth of approximately $14 million with her husband and is one of the most powerful women in faith-based entertainment. JODIE SWEETIN was 5 years old when Full House began, and she gave us Stephanie Tanner, the quick-witted, hilariously sarcastic middle daughter whose signature 2-word catchphrase we all still know. How rude. But when the show ended in 1995, Jodie was just 13. And what followed is what happens to far too many child stars. The routine was gone. The community was gone. She began drinking at 14, and by her early 20s was battling serious addiction to methamphetamine and other substances. She came terrifyingly close to losing everything. But she fought back. She achieved sobriety in 2008, and then, rather than hide what she'd been through, she wrote a brutally honest memoir, Unsweetened, that helped thousands of people facing their own struggles. In one of Hollywood's quietest acts of generosity, she organized 12-step meetings on the Fuller House set to support JOHN STAMOS during his own recovery. Stamos has said publicly that her support was one of the most important things in his journey. She reprised Stephanie beautifully in Fuller House, became an advocate for sobriety, and married Mescal Wasilewski, a clinical social worker specializing in addiction treatment, in 2022. Today, at 44, Jodie Sweetin is one of the most genuinely courageous people to ever come out of this era. No dollar amount captures that. The twins were just 9 months old when they were cast as baby Michelle. By the time Full House ended, they were 8, and already millionaires. The direct-to-video films, the merchandise, the production company they co-founded at 6 years old. By age 10, they were the youngest self-made millionaires in American history. Then, at the peak of their fame, they walked away. They enrolled at NYU in 2004. They declined Fuller House. They vanished from public view. No social media, no interviews. While the world wondered what happened to them, they were quietly building something extraordinary. In 2006, they launched The Row, a luxury fashion brand so disciplined and uncompromising that the fashion industry itself took notice. They won the CFDA Women's Wear Designer of the Year award twice. In September 2024, a minority stake in The Row was sold at a valuation of $1 billion. Today, each has an estimated net worth of $500 million. They never needed a comeback. They simply decided who they were going to be and became exactly that. Lori Loughlin brought grace and warmth to Aunt Becky for years. Then came 2019 and the Varsity Blues college admissions scandal. She and her husband were charged with paying over $500,000 in bribes to fraudulently gain their daughter's admission to USC. She pleaded guilty, served 2 months in federal prison, and lost both her Fuller House and Hallmark roles overnight. She has slowly rebuilt, returning to acting in 2021 and most recently appearing in the Prime Video series On Call. Whether she deserves a second chance is a question each viewer answers for themselves. DAVE COULIER made us love Joey Gladstone, the big kid who never quite left. After the show ended, Dave battled a decades-long struggle with alcoholism before getting sober in 2020, crediting his wife Melissa. He's been refreshingly candid about all of it. And in November 2024, he faced his most serious challenge yet, a diagnosis of stage 3 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. JOHN Stamos confirmed Dave is fighting it with characteristic strength. DAVE COULIER has given us something even more valuable than Joey's impressions, the example of a man who keeps choosing to get back up. 39 years. Danny Tanner once said, "No problem is too big to face if you face it together." Looking at this cast today, the tragedy, the redemption, the billion-dollar empires built in the shadow of old fame, I think he was right. Bob Saget reminded us to never wait to say what matters. JOHN Stamos proved some stars only get better with time. CANDACE Cameron Bure showed that stepping back can be its own kind of bravery. JODIE SWEETIN showed us the fall doesn't define you, the getting up does. The Olsens showed the world the most powerful move a child star can make is simply deciding who they want to become next. Lori Loughlin reminded us that even the most beloved figures are human. And DAVE COULIER showed that healing is possible, even when the door takes 25 years to find. That's the real Full House story. Not the one we watched on Friday nights. This one. Thank you for watching. Until next time, take good care of yourselves.